Hey everyone, and welcome to another fragrance review. Thank you so much for watching my channel and tuning into my videos. It truly does mean a lot to me. So today I'm going to be reviewing for you a fragrance from the house of Parfum de Empire. This is actually the very first fragrance from this house that I'm reviewing on my channel. And it's actually my second favorite fragrance from this house, with my first favorite being Wazamba. And the name of this fragrance is Ambre Russe. Now, Ambre Russe was released in 2003. And the perfumer behind this fragrance is Marc-Antoine Corticchiato. Now, Marc-Antoine Corticchiato, he has done many other fragrances for this house, for the house of Parfum de Empire. I know he's responsible for Yuzu Fu, Aziyade, Musk Tonkin, which was a limited edition release. And although he's not the in-house perfumer, he's been very involved with the brand. And I believe he's still around. Now, he has not done Wazamba, which is the olibanum base fragrance from the house, which is actually my favorite from the line. But other than that, the only other fragrance that he's done outside of this brand is Speakeasy from the house of Parfum. Now, that is the information that I have gathered on Fragrantica.com. So if indeed he has composed any other fragrances, or if he's currently working on any other fragrances as this video is being shot, I really don't know, but it seems as though he's an emerging perfumer, and that's really all that he's done. He's still, I guess, kind of getting his foot into the door, but this is an excellent start, so I'm just going to put that out there. So with this fragrance, the first thing that I want to tackle is the name Ambre Russe. It's actually a French phrase. It translates to Russian amber. Now, a few things that came to mind when I first heard the name, or the translation for the name, if you will. First off, being amber. Now, I know I've come across many ambers in my perfume journey. I've had the very light, toned down, muted ambers that kind of serve as like the backbone of the skeleton of the composition, where the more volatile top and mid notes kind of seem to take center stage, and it's nothing more than like the background of the fragrance. And then I've had the very potent, rich, dark, resinous, in-your-face ambers. So I really didn't know which direction this was going to lean toward. But then the name Russian. What's so Russian about this fragrance? Well, this fragrance contains the note of Russian leather. But other than that, this is a very boozy, alcoholic-y fragrance as per the note breakdown. So seeing notes like champagne, vodka, that initially captured my interest, and I thought to myself, man, I have to find out if this fragrance does indeed smell as boozy or as alcoholic-y as this note breakdown is making it out to sound. And of course, vodka is a spirit that is derived from Russia, so I thought, well, you have the leather, you have the vodka, but how authentic are these vodka and champagne notes, which aren't really notes, they're accords, right? So depending on the herbs and the spices that are used in the fermentation of those particular spirits, they try to take them together, they put them in this composition, and they create this, not amber accord as well, but also like a alcoholic accord, a vodka accord, a champagne accord. And there are spices in this fragrance like cinnamon and coriander, and I thought to myself, is there really an accord, or is it nothing more than a marketing device? Are they just using perfumer's alcohol and trying to trick you into thinking that you smelled the vodka and the champagne? Well, let me just say that this one was a true surprise to me. I'm definitely going to let you know what I think of the smell. Next up, let's take a quick look at the presentation for Ambre Russe by Parfum de Empire. Ambre Russe is available in two sizes, 50 milliliters and 100 milliliters, and this fragrance is only available in eau de parfum concentration. So first up, let's take a look at the box. What you have here on the box is this cylindrical tin. It's alright, nothing too fancy going on here. You have the name of the house, the name of the fragrance written here in the front. You have the Parfum de Empire logo down here at the bottom. It kind of looks like a wreath. It's just a cardboard cylindrical tin, not much to say about it. The very back here is where you have the ingredients, the UPC code with the batch number right below that, and then you have some more information down here at the very bottom with the symbols and whatnot. Now the top actually comes off and it exposes the inside. You can actually tell it's made of cardboard, and what I like about it is that the bottle doesn't really rattle on the inside, because they give you this plastic piece that you put on top of the bottle to kind of hold it in place. So that's a really nice addition. Again, it's not the best construction, but I think that the bottle itself does have somewhat of like a timeless look to it, with the exception of the cap, which kind of has like a unique shape to it. But over here in the front of the bottle, the same exact stuff that you see on the box itself: Ambre Russe, eau de parfum, Parfum de Empire. You have a sticker at the very bottom with some more information, and then on the cap here you have the Parfum de Empire logo, again that wreath. So that's pretty much it. The cap comes off, and the sprayer for this actually works pretty well. Not great distribution, but I think it sprays out enough juice relative to the concentration of the size, but also the potency of the fragrance itself. And that has pretty much been the presentation for Ambre Russe by Parfum de Empire. So what you get from this fragrance when it first opens up is this very dark, rich, boozy, alcoholic-y smell. You have 2 alcohol notes listed in this fragrance. You have vodka, you have champagne, and for me, it comes across smelling very true to nature, very authentic. And I don't know what happens. I don't know, because it's definitely not just the perfumer's alcohol giving off that vibe. I don't know if they just took different spices and they kind of put them together to create this accord of vodka or accord of champagne. And of course, that's, you know, with many spirits, that's what happens. You have many spices and herbs that are used in the fermentation of that particular spirit. So when you smell them in combination with each other, it kind of smells like that note, like mojito, right? You take lime, and then you take other ingredients, and then in the end, it ends up smelling like mojito. With this fragrance, it really does smell like vodka. Champagne, I don't know what really necessarily classifies or delineates the smell of champagne from that of other alcoholic beverages. So I don't know if I can necessarily say that I get the smell of champagne in this fragrance, but definitely the smell of vodka. So as far as the name of this fragrance goes, yeah, I think it is a little bit authentic, and I like that because this is a very unique take, very different take on amber. Now as far as the amber in this fragrance goes, if you're familiar with fragrances like Tom Ford's Amber Absolute, 24 Gold by Scent Story, or even Ragba by Lattafa Perfumes, you're definitely going to know what to expect from this fragrance. It's a very dark, rich, potent, bold, punch-packing, in-your-face amber, with the only exception being that it's not overly sweet. It's not overly done in its sweetness, and I really like that about this fragrance. That's one thing that can kind of turn some people off. With this fragrance, it's more dark than resinous, so I think that kind of puts it in like this gray area where I don't know if somebody would be necessarily or readily inclined to compliment you just because the smell is so weird. But with that being said, what do I get? I think the most concentrated resin in this note is that of benzoin. I think there's a very strong benzoin note in this fragrance with perhaps a little bit of vanilla or labdanum in the background, just kind of sweetening it up by just a little bit. But then there's also the note of cinnamon. So the 2 spices you're going to get in here, you have cinnamon, you have coriander. Unfortunately, I can't say I get too much of coriander, and there's a little bit of cinnamon in here, but it's not enough to sting your nostrils. And then when it dries down, it gets a little bit musky, all the while retaining this smoky, kind of incensey smell, without particularly smelling like a church or anything like that. It's definitely not olibanum. I don't get any frankincense in this fragrance. But there is a little bit of that like smoky, leathery note. I know there's also the note of birch tar listed in this fragrance. Birch tar on its own actually smells like a burning forest. It quite literally smells like something is burning, like you kind of want to reach for your fire extinguisher. With this fragrance, it doesn't necessarily smell like anything is on fire, so I like that. It's not overdone, not too many creative risks, not one on top of another to the point where it compromises the composition. No, with this fragrance, it's like very tastefully taken creative risks, and I like that. One thing that I do want to note on, however, is that the leather note in this fragrance, and it's branded as that of Italian leather. I don't really know, again, what delineates the smell of, you know, American leather and Italian leather and Tuscan leather, you know. I don't know. But in this fragrance, the leather comes across smelling a little bit more rubbery than anything else. And it's kind of in the same lines as Dior's Fahrenheit, Bulgari Black. Kind of has like that petrol rubbery type of a smell. Very appealing, and yeah, one would be inclined to say that it smells rubbery. It's kind of like in the middle. So as it dries down, what you get is that amber accord. It lasts for a very long time. Just becomes a little bit sweeter, but it's still very resinous, and then you get a little bit of musk. The thing that made me the happiest about this fragrance is the fact that it does contain the note of juniper berry, but I don't smell it. So I really don't like the smell of juniper berry. For me, it has this very bright, sharp, astringent smell, and I usually associate it with like more mature classic fragrances, and it's listed as a note. I don't get too much of it. That really made me happy. And unfortunately, sad to say, my favorite part of this fragrance is the opening. So just the fact that this fragrance is so short-lived, that was kind of a letdown. Or the opening of this fragrance, rather, is so short-lived. That was kind of a letdown. But bottom line, very rich, potent amber. It dries down to this slightly musky composition, a little bit spicy, a little smoky too, definitely leathery, more on the rubbery side, and longevity is great. You know, 8 to 10 hours every time. Now, in terms of compliments or complaints, I really don't know. I really don't know. I'm kind of in the middle on that. I don't know if somebody would necessarily be inclined to compliment you, just because it is such a different fragrance, so unique and weird and really just out of left field. I think that if it were a fragrance aficionado, somebody who's really into fragrances, has really smelled a lot, and they've never smelled this fragrance before, if they caught somebody wearing it, they would be very quick to compliment that person. I think they would fall head over heels. Very beautiful take on amber. The casual person though, the average consumer, I don't know. I think that they'd be more surprised or in awe that somebody walks around smelling like this. So I think it's kind of 50-50. It's in that gray area for me. So I can't really go either way. So just something to keep in mind. So guys, thank you so much for watching. That was my review of the smell of this fragrance. Last up we have the rating. Take care. First up we have uniqueness and overall smell, and this fragrance earned from me an 8 out of 10. Now I think that this fragrance earned many points in terms of uniqueness, maybe not as many in terms of overall smell, just because of that spicy, smoky, incensey, rubbery feel. It might rub somebody the wrong way, but it's definitely a unique fragrance, very unique and different take on amber, and I really appreciate the fact that many creative risks were taken with this fragrance, but very tastefully done, not overdone. So in moderation, very tastefully done. Fixatives were used successfully, and that, you know, is why this fragrance lasts as long as it does. Overall smell, I think it's just a great smell. For me, it's a very intoxicating smell. I actually love the way that this fragrance smells. Like I said, it's my second favorite from the house. Next up, we have longevity. I give this fragrance a 9 out of 10. I get like 8 to 10 hours with this fragrance, so I figured just go with the happy medium, give this fragrance a 9 out of 10. So on average, I get like 9 hours from this fragrance, which is excellent. Definitely above average longevity from this fragrance. Very impressed. Next up we have projection. I gave it an 8 out of 10. Projection on this fragrance is very good. For like 4 to 5 hours it radiates off your skin very strongly. Definitely about an arm's length, if not beyond an arm's length. So it's definitely very potent projection, very potent longevity. Performance is one thing that you do not have to worry about with this fragrance. Next up we have versatility. I gave it a 6 out of 10. I think that this is a very unisex fragrance. I mean, a Bulgari Black with its rubbery and vanilla qualities has the potential of being considered a unisex fragrance, then why not this one? I feel as though that's just nothing more than like a gender assignation that's really erroneous. I think this fragrance can really be worn by anybody. I think that it is more of a dressed up fragrance. I wouldn't wear it casually because of the composition itself, but also because of the price. I think you could wear this to a night out. It has a little bit of that sweetness that would make it appropriate for that occasion. I just probably would wear this to a more sophisticated event. I think this is a cold weather fragrance exclusively. I wouldn't wear this in the summer or even on a hot spring day. I think that that would be overkill. But I do see somebody a little bit mature wearing this fragrance, possibly 25 and up, if not 30 and up. So there's definitely a mature feeling to this fragrance. Really unique fragrance. Versatility is compromised just a little bit, giving it a 6 out of 10. And then last up we have presentation. I already told you what I think about that. I ended up giving this fragrance a 7 out of 10 for presentation. And then that brings this fragrance to an overall rating or an average score of 7.6 out of 10. So there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching my review. That was my review of Ambre Russe by Parfum de Empire. If you own or have tried this fragrance, please let me know what you think by leaving a comment down below. I would love your participation. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to shoot me a message. I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. As always, please don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated. So again, thank you so much for watching. This has been Steven with another fragrance review from Adolescence. Take care.